Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Turban Talks. Winter testing for Formula One is going to be beginning soon. Some teams have already unveiled their cars for the year. We've seen the AlphaTauri, we've seen Alfa Romeo's car. Even McLaren had that 1 hour long thing. They weren't showing the car; they were just doing some random stuff for now. So yeah, we're going to be sharing with you our predictions for the F1 season coming up. We're going to give our drivers and constructors championship predictions based on last year's performances and just what we think of the drivers in general. And it's just our opinion. So if it differs with you in any way, don't go insane in the comments. Don't attack us or anything. Let's just keep it
Yeah,
civil.
this is a disclaimer. Okay, if you don't agree with us, you can write it in the comments, but don't go ham on us. Yeah. So, anyways, let's just start off with the drivers' championship, and we'll be simultaneously talking about the constructors as well. So, I think P1, off the top of our head, it's kind of very obvious who's gonna get it. I think Lewis Hamilton from Mercedes, because he's been in the game for quite a while, and he's been winning since I started watching F1, I think, and I stopped watching as well. But he's been there for a long time, 2013, 2014, and uh, like with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes in general, the way all their vehicles are manufactured, with the aerodynamics and everything. I think when you mix that with Lewis Hamilton, it's kind of obvious he's going to win, and he's won last year as well, so he's kind of the favorite to win. So that's for P1. So for P2, we went ahead with Max Verstappen after not much consideration because I mean the guy's proven himself, right? He won in Abu Dhabi flawlessly. There was no challenge. It was almost a boring race. It was complete domination because even I think this guy Hamilton had COVID, so he wasn't participating. And he's had lots of podium finishes over the years, and he's just a very skilled athlete. The reason I think we didn't put him in first place is because of that Mercedes Red Bull thing. Mercedes aerodynamic designs and just the vehicle itself is just top notch. And for third P3, we put Valtteri Bottas. I'm sorry if we ruin the pronunciation. So he's the second driver for Mercedes. I think we're just gonna say he's gonna come third because of skill. I mean, it's Mercedes. I don't see any other reason. Do you think there's any other reason why he'd win? He'd come third.
I mean, he's a decent driver and he has the best car on the grid. And last year he came P2. There's no reason to say he won't come P3 unless Sergio Perez just goes absolutely insane. But with his first year in Red Bull, I don't necessarily see that happening. So I think Valtteri Bottas P3 is, a safe assumption given
Safe
his
assumption.
years in Mercedes.
Max.
So for P4, we're predicting Sergio Perez from Red Bull. There's a lot of speculation that, the second Red Bull seat is cursed since Daniel Ricciardo's left. No one's really done that well in the second Red Bull seat. Alex Albon came, I think, 8th last year, and before that, Pierre Gasly got removed halfway through the season. So, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen with Sergio Perez because he's such a skilled driver. I don't think the issue of the car, I don't think the reason Max Verstappen does so well in the car is because it's a car, tailored around him. I just think that he's a very skilled driver. He's very versatile, and he can make the best of the machinery given to him. That's why I think Sergio Perez is going to come fourth, putting Red Bull in P1 in the Constructors' Championship and Mercedes P1 and Red Bull P2 in the
P1.
Constructors' Championship.
I mean, that's what I was also saying. Max Verstappen just has raw talent, and that's something you can't fight. Even if you have the best machinery, sometimes raw talent just goes above it all. Anyways, okay. For P5, we decided we'll go ahead with Daniel Ricciardo, and he's currently in McLaren. The reason behind this is if again we're always looking at past performances, as we mentioned in the intro as well. So judging and based on your past performance, Ricardo, when I think he joined Renault, he gave them podium finishes after a long drought and stretch of not winning anything. So I mean, just his performance in Renault, and I think he was in Red Bull, right?
Yeah, he was.
If I'm not wrong. Yeah, he was in Red. Yeah, with judging from his performance in Red Bull and Renault, I think it's safe to say he can get fifth, P5, if not at least P6, but we're gonna go with P5 because of his performances.
Yeah, so I think P6 is going to be Lando Norris again with the McLaren, putting McLaren at P3 in the Constructors' Championship. Lando, he's just been doing really well. He did really well last year with Carlos Sainz. McLaren is making huge leaps with their car over the years. It's been going downhill since like the beginning of the 2010s, but they're really picking it up again. They came P3 last year and deservingly so. And I just think, Lando Norris with Daniel Ricciardo on his side, such an experienced driver, it's only going to, be better for him. He's going to learn so much. So yeah, that's our prediction. P5, Danny Rick, P6, Lando, and P3 for constructors, McLaren.
McLaren for obvious reasons. Anyways, so coming to P7, now this is on a bit of a personal note. Now, Sebastian Vettel, when I actually started watching F1, I think this I don't know which circuit. I've only attended one Formula One race, and I think it happened in India. Now I don't know when it happened, where it happened. I remember like Sebastian Vettel, I think was participating in it, but he was in Red Bull at the time. And I think he won. I can be completely wrong, but like I had seen him at that time, so now like seeing him at the stage he is, like not winning anything with Ferrari, like I think it was a very disappointing season with Ferrari, if I'm not wrong. Like they had a lot of
Yeah, last
like
year's Ferrari, I don't know
speculation
what
that
they
they were
did, man.
cheating and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a very disappointing performance. So I hope like Sebastian Vettel, because of how good he was back in the day, like 2013, 2014 with Red Bull. If he was in Red Bull, if my memory serves me correct, I think he can do it with Aston Martin. Uh, so that's why we're putting him in
Yeah.
P7, and he has a lot of experience as well over these guys, the others.
The thing is, he's a
Um,
great driver. He has great talent. I think he still has it in him to do really well. And I just don't think the Ferrari atmosphere was, right for him. Considering, like, some people, previous drivers have said it was a very toxic environment. Since 2007, I don't think they've had a drivers' championship except for Kimi Raikkonen, despite having Kimi Raikkonen, Felipe Massa, uh, Vettel, Charles Leclerc, and they've even had, I think, Fernando Alonso. So you've had these amazing drivers over the years and not been able to produce world champions is definitely something you're doing wrong, especially right after the Schumacher era. And like like Vettel was just so stressed in
100%.
Ferrari. I'm putting this picture in Discord. I'm going to be sharing it up on screen for those of you watching with video. Like, look what the Ferrari stress has done to him. This was him, in the Aston Martin video recently. Like they've
Holy
massacred him, dude.
man, balding.
Hopefully he gets his
No
hairline back
man,
with Aston
man
Martin.
will have to wear a cap.
Yeah.
We'll have to wear a cap now, definitely. Rip. Thank my hair now. But yeah, okay. But bro, isn't he like he's been in the game for a while, so it's kind of expected the stress would get to him. But yeah, Ferrari definitely there's something wrong with the atmosphere there, because it's impossible to have such good drivers and then like not produce world champions, as you rightly said earlier. So for P8, we're going with Charles Leclerc. Now, to be honest, I don't know much about this guy. Like, obviously, he's very skilled and like a very nice looking guy. Not trying to be sus, but yeah, like just in general, again, a very good driver. And I don't think we could have placed him anywhere higher, because of just like the competition that is there right now. Hamilton, Verstappen. So although he is a skilled driver, again, being in Ferrari itself is like a big no-no. And like being a Ferrari fan back in the day, it's kind of sad to see us fall down so far. Like P8, bro. Yeah, I think that's how it is.
Yeah, so I think after that P9, Carlos Sainz, I don't think he's gonna beat Charles Leclerc, and I don't think he's gonna beat Vettel either, because it's his first year in a Ferrari, and compared to Vettel, he doesn't have as much, experience and versatility. Obviously, he's a very talented driver. Even Charles Leclerc is probably the third best driver on the grid, if I say personally, with Max at second. But just simply, like, I don't think the Ferrari in 1 year they're going to be able to like make up the difference of whatever they did last year with their car.
Come back
So
from there.
yeah, but they will do it eventually. They've done it before. So yeah, that puts P7 Sebastian Vettel, P8 Charles Leclerc, P9 Carlos Sainz, and putting Ferrari at P4 in the Constructors' Championship. Okay, so next we have P10 Pierre Gasly from the AlphaTauri. Had a phenomenal season last year. Amazing driver. And I think, like, in a few years, he might even leave AlphaTauri, go to Renault. He's French. Renault is French. They love the French in France. So, it's a publicly owned country, and
Nationalism.
nationalism is pretty strong in France. So yeah, I think like
Yeah.
he got a win last year. Pierre Gasly, P10's pretty good. I think he's gonna do well.
Oh,
That's for it.
yeah, same. I hope that. For P11, we're going with Esteban Ocon. He's also from France, yeah. Like I get what you were talking about, the
Yeah, he is.
thing, Renault and France.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, he's still like pretty young. Yeah, he's not. I think he made his debut in
yeah. He's still
20,
pretty young. He only had a
2016.
few. He had a
Yeah,
few
2016.
years with Force India, and then had a like year where he didn't have a seat. Now he's back in Renault. And like obviously, I'm not just saying Pierre Gasly is gonna get into Renault because he's French. He's like phenomenal. He's a phenomenal driver. He has a lot of talent. I just think he's gonna eventually get into a better seat
No
than
racism intent.
than just a Red Bull B team.
For P12, we decided to go ahead with Fernando Alonso from Renault. Again, Renault is like French, but Fernando Alonso is not French.
So like Fernando
Pretty
Alonso,
old.
yeah, he's a
Pretty
pretty
old.
good driver. He's coming back after like I think 2 years from like he was in a McLaren. He's been in a Ferrari before. He got the win with Renault before, and I just don't think like in his first year right back, especially looking at the midfield, he's going to be able to close that gap up and get Renault more than a P6 is what we're predicting. But you're going to come to that. And I think like for his first year back, P12 is pretty reasonable, right below Esteban Ocon, who's been there for a while now. He's just been getting better. He's still young, and he has a lot of raw talent. So yeah, I think P12 Fernando Alonso is a fair assumption. So now coming to P13 Lance Stroll, Aston Martin. Like people say, he's just a pay driver. He's just there because daddy's money. But I think I think he's generally not that bad of a
Yes,
driver.
sir.
He did pretty well last year, to say the least. So yeah, P13 Aston Martin, and he's just going to improve over time. As I said with Lando and Danny Rick, I think the same with Lance Stroll and Vettel. But Lance Stroll is like takes a bit longer to learn from his mistakes than Lando, which is why I'm putting him a bit back at P13, and which is why I don't think he's as consistent as he could be considering his talent. And now next P14, we have a rookie here. Just came from F2. Uh, Yuki Tsunoda, AlphaTauri, possibly going to Red Bull in a few years. I think, yeah, it's a fair assumption. P14, especially considering the machinery he's been given. P14 is fair compared to Pierre's P10, who's like a lot more experienced. And yeah, over the years, he's just gonna get better. I haven't seen much of Yuki Tsunoda. I haven't followed F2 too much, except for Mick Schumacher. But I hope to see, I hope to see his
Nobody
improvement over the
follows
years
F2.
and how he goes.
No offense to F2 drivers, but yeah. So, anyways, so for the Constructors' Championship, I think through the rankings you could tell. So, Aston Martin would be P5, Renault would be P6, and AlphaTauri would be P7 below all of these
Yeah, so
guys.
AlphaTauri P7. So now
Yeah.
coming to the Iceman himself, P15 Kimi Raikkonen, who is personality wise, he's my favorite driver, and he has the most experience over anyone in the grid. He's statistically driven more than anyone else, but simply given that Alfa Romeo car, I don't think he's gonna get more than a P15. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been racing since like the 1990s. He's won 2 world championships also, or 1 world championship.
Holy crap, you're right. Why is this man still driving?
he
Hold up.
he literally said in a
Yeah, you're
interview,
right. Like he won in
he's like, I just
2007
race for
as well.
fun.
Like
It's more like a hobby for me. He went to NASCAR in the middle. He just came back. He's
how is he
having
getting
fun. He's
paid for
coming
this?
P15 also. Man's living the life, man. Honestly.
I'd like to trade lives with him. I'm joking.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
joking.
these guys have like a pretty phenomenal
I like
life. Obviously, there's a huge risk factor, but just driving around in circles, doing what they love, it's like pretty
Bro,
amazing.
don't say that, bro. Yeah, that is true.
So now next P16, Anthony Giovinazzi. he's a pretty good driver, but I don't think like he's coming more than P16. Everyone on this list is a pretty good driver to say the least, because they're in F1 for a reason, right? Like if they being a paid driver can only get you so far. But Anthony Giovinazzi P16, I think that's fair. Putting Alfa Romeo at P8.
I think that's fair. And then like now we like come towards the final four. I think, yeah, 17, 18. Yeah, final four. And now I think here it's mainly rookies, like two rookies which we'll have. Uh, so for P17 we decided to go ahead with Mick Schumacher, however you want to pronounce his name again, who is the son of the legendary racer Michael Schumacher. So he's currently with Haas F1. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Has F1, and we're putting him at P17 obviously because he's a rookie. And again, we're not discrediting any of the racers here, but just if you look at the competition and experience above him, I think it's not even generosity. It's like perfectly justifiable to put him at P17. Although he's had like a good track record in the previous, I think when he came from F2, he was a really good driver. Yeah. So that's why we're placing him above the other three.
I think the thing with Mick Schumacher is uh, what we've seen consistently is like we see like in the first season he just got into F3, he just got into F2. He wasn't as good as people expected, and then the next year he just wins. Yeah, I don't think like it's gonna be just a year in F1, especially looking at the
Yeah, exactly.
drivers and looking at that Haas package machinery that they're getting. I don't think realistically he's gonna just win a year later. But I put him at P17. We put him at P17 above the other three drivers because I think he's gonna have at least that one really good race where he gets like P10 and gets some points for the team, which
Yeah,
I just don't see happening with the other drivers remaining on the list.
yeah. Like if we go into P18, 19, 20, like I think it's safe. Like they're not gonna get many points. Williams, firstly, like I don't know. I hadn't even heard of Williams till like I actually read about like the list. So I'm not dissing them again. Like no disrespect, but like okay, firstly, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi. I think George Russell is a decent driver, right?
Yeah,
But
George Russell is pretty good.
then again,
Given the
with
Williams, yeah,
Williams, it's not going to be good. I've not exactly. I've not heard of Nicholas Latifi. My bad. But George Russell, I know for a fact is pretty good. But again, given it's Williams, it's gonna be a problem. So I don't think they're gonna get many points.
like maybe in the
We don't.
future after
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, if he retires, I don't know. He's been in like Formula One since I think 2006 7. He won with McLaren 2008. I don't know if and when he's going to retire. Maybe he might just end up like Kimi Raikkonen. But whenever him or Valtteri do, probably George Russell's going to take that seat. And maybe, we never know given the Mercedes car, he might win. Or, like next year, uh, after the FI regulations change, maybe this whole field changes up. Maybe Williams and Haas are winning. Maybe Mercedes is coming dead last. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Oh, yeah, another interesting thing we forgot to bring up. A lot of the
Yeah.
reasons why, like, we can like base off the performance of last year and why many people are excited is because the regulations aren't changing for next year at all, and they don't have to make a new car, right? Mostly they're just going with 50 to
Mm.
60% of the previous car. That's what James Allison, Mercedes, uh yeah,
Yeah.
chief technical director said. So like, it's going to be pretty good. All of them are going to have amazing cars because they don't have to work on it from scratch. And that's why I think it's going to be a lot closer than we think, or Mercedes Red Bull might just be way more dominant than last year.
Yeah, it can go two ways. It can either be like everyone's popping off, or like it's gonna be again that Mercedes Red Bull thing, which you see almost every year now. There's no surprise. Anyways, for P20 and like last again, we're gonna go with Mazepin, who's from Haas F1 again, and we're doing this because like I think Mazepin's too aggro of a
Yeah,
character,
definitely.
and like he's that type of hot-headed racer. I mean, his face says it all when he's racing as well.
And it's his first year realistically.
And plus, like
Yeah,
again, has a rookie,
yeah.
exactly rookie. So it's safe to put him at P20, I think.
So that puts
My opinion.
Haas at P9, Williams at P10. So yeah, that's our predictions for this year. If you're using video, probably you'll like see the list right now coming up on the screen. I'm just gonna be putting it up. If you're on video, if you're listening with just audio, then I'm sorry. uh, so yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Go to the video.
So that puts, just to run it back, the Constructors
Yes, sir.
Championship: P1 Mercedes, P2 Red Bull, P3 McLaren, P4 Ferrari, Aston Martin, P6 Renault, P7 AlphaTauri, P8 Alfa Romeo, P9 Haas, and P10 Williams. So those are our predictions for this year. If you guys,
Okay, before we wrap it up, I'm gonna give a hot take. I have a feeling Red Bull will come like first. I now that I think about it, yeah. Like I know I've said like we've agreed on Mercedes, but I don't know why. Like I have this gut feeling like
Red
Red
Bull will
Bull might
clutch
come
last
first.
moment.
Like I, I'm just putting it out there. If Red Bull comes first, yeah. If Red Bull comes first, you all can like give me $50 or something. I'm joking. Yeah.
Like I love
I know we've
Toto.
said
That's
our
why I put
prediction, but this is
Mercedes
just
first. I love Valtteri and
my
Lewis. So like I want them to win, but realistically, Red Bull might. And like Christian Horner,
yeah.
the Red Bull team principal, he looks like a James Bond villain, man. Like in all the F1 Drive to Survive interviews, that guy looks so scary, man. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. So yeah, that's about it. If you guys agree or
Anyway,
disagree with our predictions, tell us in the comments on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify, you can use the voice message feature. If you have any suggestions for future videos, you can use either of the two means, or you can always message us on Insta or comment on one of our posts. And be sure to like if you've enjoyed and you want to see more content like this. Subscribe, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.